with this is a fantastically complicated technique. It requires a piece of paper like that, and you just put a little circle in the middle and you write young person. Okay, this is okay. And we're just going to just get you to do this, just because, and we want you to do this in 10 minutes tops. And I suppose we want to contrast this with the kind of the complexity of what we've just done. Is that mapping out a network can be done just very back of an envelope thing. You don't need to have the right form. You just need a piece of paper, and you may do this with a young person, which would be better. May do it with a parent, or may do it with, but if you're completely stuck and you're on the bus and you've got anybody, you can just try and work it out. So it's a stimulus to try to just think of the network. So we're hoping we all got a piece of paper. And we call it we call it a program, which just a kind of slightly play on the idea of genogram, really, but it's even more simple than genogram. It simply says you put the young person at the centre of the diagram, and you just try and imagine all the people that are in exactly the same as the scope, all the key people in the young person's life, how close, how distant are they, who's a bit close to who else it is. So you just draw it, just what we did as the sculpt, but you can do it quickly and simply. I'm modelling a way that you could just use this in training. So I would invite, our suggestion would be that you want to keep this moving along. You don't want this to become a masterpiece of a network. You want to convey, it seems to me, that this is something that can be used practically in short paces, in short time scales. You can use it in a group supervision, or in individual supervision, or just in any particular circumstance. So, from a training point of view, I would encourage not over elaboration on this. To convey this is something that it isn't about doing it beautifully. It's a tool. Now, then what I would do is I would invite. Okay, so how do people find that? So if you just do that, because again, people will have different sorts of questions or something about. Okay, so let's just do it. So any bits of feedback about how you found using that? Okay. Can I prompt one might come out. So I wasn't quite sure whether I could put family and professionals or something like that. So you might get people a little bit unsure. Is it okay to put everybody in? How do you define what's an important person? You get, people understandably just, might think there's more rules to this than there are. So the intention here is that this isn't rule bound, and you can do it several ways. One would be just think about it from the young person's point of view. It's just who they say. That's it. Or it could be that if you're doing it from your point of view, just saying, well, this is from my point of view. But it may be quite useful just to define whose point of view it is that you're doing it. But the clear intention is that whether it's a professional person or a non-professional person isn't important in this particular exercise. That's not the key definition. I think that what we'd say from an ambit point of view is that it isn't structural. I.e., we say it a little bit, team around the worker is a kind of principle, but it's not structural because we haven't got the powers to implement that structurally. I suppose what we'd be looking at from a functional point of view is that it's a network that knows itself. I.e., that where the disintegration, dysfunction of networks is worse is where people are just completely unaware of other parts of the helping system, just don't know about it at all. There might be conflicts, that will be another thing, but there's quite a lot of it is just absolute lack of awareness and lack of communication between networks. So our emphasis would be on enhancing communication within a network, because there are elements here we don't have the authority to restructure a network. We're just way outside our. So it's not that Ambit presents a structural solution. It has principles and has some thoughts, but it's the communication and trying to define within the network what you have some capacity to influence and what you don't. Because the other bit of the overwhelming stuff is that part of it is But there's whole parts of that of which one doesn't have much capacity to influence. And the things that we would want to encourage is what are the bits that you can influence, and not get too preoccupied. Well, you can get preoccupied, but not waste time on trying to influence things that are outside of one's capacity. That's the